Whoa, whoa. Why is there stuff my face with a mini taco?
And Zai's here, and Mithril. Well,
How's it
Mithril's still
going?
connecting to audio. Oh, and
Yes,
since Mithril's here,
Oh, guys, can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
yes, we can.
Oh, you wouldn't believe
Good
the
evening.
how's it
hey,
going?
Yes.
You guys wouldn't believe the week I've had.
Try us. Dude, we can believe a lot of things.
did we have a
Uh,
Karen call the cops on you or something?
no, actually, it actually dealt with my job, my new my new job that I'm actually leaving this week because there's like issues going on. They said that I'm argumentative, that I don't I guess I'm like I get in arguments with people, I guess, which is interesting because at my other jobs they've never told me that I'm argumentative, so I don't know what's going on.
No
Yeah,
idea.
I don't know. Maybe I can. People can think of me as argumentative when it's just like I'm like arguing with them about politics. But if like for some reason they're like everyone that's like around me agree with me politically and something like that, I'm not that argumentative as it were.
The guy actually, so our boss, he's a huge Republican.
Oh, there you
Oh,
go. I would be
no,
argumentative with that person for sure.
Well, it wasn't politics, but like what they'll say is like they think because like it's like another I guess custodial job. They say that I'm untrainable, and that and I think what it really is that I just have a different way of working,
that's
right?
rubbish. Nobody's untrainable.
Hmm.
So
That's
yeah,
just a lazy.
Cats.
Yeah, okay. All right.
yeah, they
Hmm.
basically say I'm untrainable and that I can't. I guess to them like I don't follow directions, which again is funny because I've had custodial jobs before, and they say the people who I've worked with say I do a good job. So I don't. Maybe it's just this company. I don't know.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Phoenix. Sorry to hear that. Like you have your internet bill tomorrow, and I came at a time that I'm like personally tapped out. So I just have to like send out the back signal to like all the places and say emergency like you need like I don't know $100 tomorrow or so to like for an internet bill. I'm trying to build code for ableism. I agree.
Absolutely right.
I'm also trying.
Yeah.
But then again, I also got like my old job back at my original custodial company, so I just be working there from 7:30 to like 4. So
Mm.
I seem to just cannot get a job that I like. I don't get it. I don't know.
Capitalism.
Basically,
Well, it's kind of like hey, the skills you have, the jobs that are available don't overlap. That's one thing.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
so
It's
yeah.
I don't know. It's fucked up.
Mm. And then there's like but then there's also the same problem with like there's the skills that you have, the things you want to do, and then like the jobs that are available. Those can be three separate like circles that never overlap either.
Yeah,
uh, I don't I understand Phoenix, but it still makes me sad that you're in the situation that you are in, and I wish there was like something to do to improve that or easily. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, Phoenix. I would help, but I've had bailiffs on my doorstep this week as well. So
Mm.
you have a
Who did
bailiff.
you try to kill, Mithril?
mm,
You're not denying it, so that's interesting.
no, I don't think I ever will deny it. I just wish I could give some help, but
So what is Phoenix's story? I'm just curious.
No, Phoenix, they've been like the short version is that they're currently on SSD. No, not on SSDI. That's Joanna Roberts.
Disabled and poor.
They tried to get on SSDI like years ago and got denied by a judge because they said, but you don't have a prescription for a mobility aid. They have a walker. Um, is and they're crying right now because they can't live this anymore.
Oh God, Phoenix.
As they were in they have physical disabilities as well as like depression and other things, and anxiety. But the physical disabilities came from a car accident that they were in like in 2007, I think, around time. And yeah, still trying to get, and they're still trying to get on like SSDI. The last time that they were denied by a judge, it because they didn't get a prescription for the mobility aid. They have Walker, bought it themselves. The reason why they didn't get a prescription because last time they visited the doctor about the mobility issues, the doctor said, "Have you tried losing weight? They can't. It's not easy for them to lose weight when everything hurts." And so fat phobia, as well as ableism in the system, and so they've been like struggling to like make ends meet by just like having a internal GoFundMe, essentially. My head trauma only started to
Yeah,
really affect me
that's
several years
often
ago.
the case. That is often
Mhm.
the case, I'm afraid. Phoenix, put in chat how much the bill is, and I'll see if I can help at all tomorrow.
Definitely the charity links. That page will have like their
Yeah, well,
GoFundMe.
if you let me know how much it is, I can see if I can do a little bit of help towards it anyway. I'm kind of
Some
skint myself, but I will try to do something for you.
I have those links right there,
Yeah,
but
actually, I just want the internet bill for us, so I can
oh
just
no,
do
no, that
some.
won't work. Okay, I'm gonna have to
I just
split
want
it
to know how
down.
much the internet bill is. I'll see if I can do something.
There's GoFundMe, and there's the Cash App. And
Mm.
for those that the Cash App's not an option, Vimeo.
I
The
don't know whether any of these work from the UK to the US. They should do, though, shouldn't they?
Yeah. And PayPal is in their link tree.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, but Phoenix, specifically for the amount for the internet, just tell me how much, just say in chat how much it is, and I'll see if I can do
Mm,
something.
and there is a Venus's card that will have like the links to like a that sort of thing too. That should work as well. Yeah. Okay. So we're okay. So yeah, and Phoenix's story. It's like so that's the main thing. So it's like the broad strokes. This the short version is that like disabled and with like a physical and mental disabilities and yeah, been living in a cis hetero white supremacist cis hetero allopatriarchal ableist system this would work because like it yeah they also just had to like move out on their own because their father was still sees Venus as like her little girl. Okay, the bill's like 170, the bank says about like 50. I might have extra bills.
Does she,
Mm-hmm.
does she live in like Section 8 housing? That's like,
She now was in Section 8 Italian. Yes, it took her a while for her to get that. Them to get that. I'm sorry. So they
she
at
has
least
cramps.
they at least got so the housing is taken care of by the voucher, but like they still need like to pay for internet, pay for power, pay for food, pay for
Yeah.
supplies, pay for like cat litter and stuff for like their which is familiar in their emotional support animal in Archie, Archimedes. And so yeah, as well as like the how it's they have like commented before about like the how easy it is for like some like white trans people to like get a whole bunch of money instantly, or some conservative people to get a whole bunch of money instantly, and then they've been like fundraising for like years and still haven't like been able to like get a comfortable living. So yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of it's tough out here being autistic and stuff because and I think
they're autistic too. Yeah.
and I think also what the problem is that autistic people are like really loyal sometimes, or at least some of us are. especially when it comes to work. So I feel like bosses can exploit that, and just like ask people to just come in whenever they want, and it can be really difficult, especially when you're like trying to like plan events and stuff with people.
Mhm.
That's my experience with it.
Phoenix, I can't promise anything because I've got a lot of bills to pay right now myself,
Mhm.
but I will try and put something into that tomorrow, okay?
Mhm.
Oh, so you live in the UK, right? What's the whole Liz trust thing going on over there?
Oh, God.
She lasted 4.1 Scaramucci's.
Yeah. Um, she proved to be the most incompetent prime minister for ever, which, given the last four prime ministers, including her, we've had, is kind of impressive.
Mhm.
Um, she, her and her Chancellor of the Exchequer, which I suppose is head of finance or something. There must be a sort of financial department, head of the Treasury, I suppose. Would that be an American thing? I don't know. Head of the
Uh,
Treasury Department,
yeah, I
Treasury
think so.
Secretary,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
Roughly that equivalent, but it's because it's British. It's got all sorts of stupid bells and whistles and furbelows attached. Um, she and he put together their mini budget, which turned out to give a massive tax cut to the richest 5% in the country, and everybody else was going to be completely screwed. The stock market in the UK reacted kind of badly, and the value of the pound absolutely collapsed to very, very close to parity with the US dollar for the first time ever. It came really close to $1 equals £1, which um, and then on the so she'd spent quite a long time, several weeks under fire about how stupid this was, and sitting there
She
going,
spent
no, no,
several weeks. That means the entirety of her time as
Blame,
prime minister.
yes.
I blame,
Oh well, that's
I
part
blame
of the
Joe
thing.
Biden
The other part of it is don't forget that effectively 2 weeks of the 6 weeks was spent in the mourning period for the Queen.
Mhm.
So out of the grand total of 6 weeks, she was actually only working 4 weeks. In 4 weeks, she managed to bend the British economy over the desk and fuck it so hard it ruptured. Um, so last um, last Wednesday, she had a really bad Prime Minister's question time because every Wednesday, when the Houses of Parliament are sitting, the head of the leader of the opposition is allowed to, and the leader of the other political parties are allowed to question the Prime Minister, and her response was always to either say something which was completely immaterial or question them back. So, she never actually answered them.
Do you guys
Because,
have like do you guys have like midterm elections over there?
no,
Okay.
But
no.
there can be snap elections, and that's
Yes,
like
there
the
can be by-elections if a sitting MP either resigns, is sacked, or falls off the perch. Yeah.
I guess you guys are watching our midterms, right? To see.
There is surprising disinterest amongst the majority of people in the UK, to be quite honest.
Don't
Um,
worry. I bet the standard thing wouldn't happen, where it's just like the a current party that's in power and has the presidency will lose some seats or some power or sort
yeah,
of.
We
the
may
thing,
we this may be our last chance.
Right, yeah, because of like if there's any chance for the Republicans to like gain power, they could try and install fascism. Absolutely, there's like or like they
Well,
just
I
like
mean, or they've already done that with this whole police thing. That this whole thing with
The Supreme Court, gerrymandering. North Carolina is a failed state. Yeah.
eh, or just like a bunch of like Thuglicans that are like general election deniers becoming secretary of states and then control elections or those states.
I think Florida is already becoming a failed state. Look what this hurricane
Yeah.
did.
So anyway, on Wednesday, she
Mm-hmm.
went to Prime Minister's questions. She got absolutely torched. Um, she gave at the end of it, she gave a sort of mini little valedictory response and said, "I am a fighter, not a quitter." And on the Thursday, she quit. So, this. Well, now there is a vague possibility that we might end up with Alexander Boris de Pfeffel Johnson back as our Prime Minister. This, you couldn't write this shit, could you? You really couldn't. If you wrote it, that could send it to a scriptwriter.
Would you rather have Boris Johnson or Pierce Morgan as your prime minister?
I think we're rather just
No,
like
you are not allowed to give me a choice like that. That is horrible, Isaiah.
Or
How dare you?
would you rather get Margaret Thatcher from the grave?
you would rather guillotine them both or something like that.
On the positive side, at least the bitch is dead, so she's unlikely to do a great deal.
We just have to kill her again if we're sent to hell. That's the thing. That's our mission where we're sent to hell for some reason, and we just have to kill Martha Thatcher again. But like if the choice is between like Boris Johnson or like Pierce Mulligan, I choose revolution. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, if it was any other country, if it was our wonderful Julie, there would be rioting in the streets. Towns would be have their roads blocked off.
You heard it here. Mithril called for riots.
Damn right, absolutely. I mean, we have had riots forced on us by absolute poverty in this country in the past. Most notably, recently, the ones which started in London because of police murdering a guy called Mark Dugan, but then spread to lots and lots of other cities in the UK. And of course, the Tories' response was these people are just criminals, because there was footage shown of them going into places like Foot Locker and stuff like, which is a trainer's store. I don't know whether you have them in the US, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if we still have it, but it was around when I was a kid.
Yeah. And
It's where all the blacks got their tennis shoes.
yeah, well,
Yes, that's the stereotype.
The Tory press and the Tory party, and sadly the Labour Party, response was to deny the fact that it was anything to do with poverty, or deny the fact that it was anything to do with people's situation, and just said it's because they're all fucking criminals, which, is clearly the biggest pile of horse manure you can imagine, but
Just say, what do you really think? You think everyone that's like poor is like criminals as it were, or
No, they
shady
do,
characters?
yeah.
FYI, there are still Foot Lockers around in my area. There are Foot Lockers
there you
at
go.
each of the major malls, essentially.
And that reminds me,
I didn't know there were that many black people in Seattle, geek.
There are
Jesus.
some black people in Seattle, yes. There's like all in like all in South Central, as it were, but like don't be wrong. If like, why would black people come to Seattle? Because like again, the Pacific Northwest was founded by white supremacy.
Speaking of which, next year, next May probably, myself and my daughter are thinking of coming over and touring the States for a month via using Amtrak. And seeing as many of you fine people as we possibly can.
We're not all assholes. You're
I know
welcome.
you're not all assholes. I wouldn't come and talk to you if you were, so...
Well, between mass shootings and all that other shit, Americans they're Americans. Oh, they're.
Nobody ever does mass shootings on an Amtrak, as far as I can tell. On the looking at the press, so
Well, actually, in 1993, a guy,
okay, yeah, all right, yeah, okay.
I
There's
actually,
always one. There's always one, isn't there? Always.
some dude shot up a subway one time.
Yeah, there's that.
So I'm hoping to.
Well, that
fly
guy was
over-
probably stoned and thought he was somewhere popular.
I'm hoping to fly over to see a good friend in Vancouver Island first, and then sort of wend our way left and right down the US and end up in Arizona to see a really good friend there.
I'm gonna visit England one day.
Yeah, you should do, mate. You
Because
should do.
isn't like in the Thames River there's like a warship, right? There's like a warship docked in the middle of the river. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a ship there called HMS Belfast. It's a post-war battleship. It's been a tourist attraction since I was a small child. So,
Which is
many, many, many years ago. It was actually a wooden canoe when I was a small child.
which is
But,
got my Royal Navy Cracker Jack in the mail.
yeah. Right. Well, if you wanted to go and see the Royal Navy stuff, you'd be best going to a place called Portsmouth because that's got the Royal Navy Museum there.
This has the HMS Victory.
Victory is. Oh God, I can't remember where Victory is. I can't remember. Victory might be at Portsmouth, actually. Yes, it is.
So anyway, that's my autistic nerdy ass and the ships and shit. So
No.
makes sense. You are wearing a
Well,
sailor's,
you are a
captain's hat.
Chinese captain. Or
Chinese.
is that Korean?
no, this is a White Star Line. This is a Titanic hat.
Oh, because Big Red Star. I thought communist.
I can see. I can see connections there. Yeah. So what I thought was like hearing because I'm way behind on my Navarro Media and the Distance Hour and all the other news podcasts I usually listen to. So I'm just like, wait a minute, is Liz Truss no longer the MP now? I'm like, what happened? It's like, and here's the thing: it's like, okay, at least Grover Cleveland just like got lost the election, but then ran again and got elected again. So that's how we had like one president that was president 2 times, but 2 separate times and not concurrent as well.
Yeah, from 1860 to, from 1864, no, 1868. 1868 to 1932, we had 3 Democratic presidents. Woodrow Wilson, Grover Cleveland, and Grover Cleveland.
Wow.
Well, Wilson was a white supremacist. Remember?
Oh yeah, he was a complete piece of shit. Glad he's dead.
He showcased the movie called Birth of a Nation.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
The history of the Klan.
In which black men were depicted as raving, psychotic gremlins attacking white girls. So,
well, actually, it was white men in blackface, but
right.
Yes, it
which
was.
is entirely appropriate because the sort of guy who'd do that is a raving, psychotic rapist.
So this is a
On
current
the Supreme
affairs
Court, no less.
documentary, is it?
What? What do you
Birth
say,
of a
Bishop?
Nation is a current affairs documentary, is it? Still seems to work like that in the States, as far as I can tell.
Well, okay. So here's the thing about the states when it comes to because we have Independence Day, right? It's like why if Americans celebrate the day we got away from England, why did Americans like fawn so much over the death of the Queen? That's my question.
Because we wanted our own royalty. We are full of authoritarian assholes.
We have the Kardashians. That's the closest to royalty we got.
No, we are the Trumps. They want Trump to be king. They want Ivana to be the next queen. Ivanka to be the next queen.
That reminds me. There was a story on this week. A little good news story. About 3 years ago, a American diplomat's wife was driving out of a RAF base in the UK. She drove on what to us is the wrong side of the road. I know it's to you the right.
Right. Yeah.
And
No, we
she
drive on the right side of the road.
shut up. No, you don't. Um, and
No, literally, we drive on the right.
she hit and killed a 17-year-old lad on his motor scooter going to work. She then fled and turned tail and ran back into the American part of the RAF base and claimed diplomatic immunity, flew back to the States, and refused to come back to the UK to face any sort of criminal justice at all. Um, Donald Trump invited the kids' parents to the White House, and apparently the woman who hit this lad was in the next fucking room, and Trumpel Thinskin offered the parents a fairly substantial amount of money to make the court case go away, and thankfully she had the moral fibre to refuse him. And this week, after her finally testifying via video link, because she's still too spineless to actually come here, she was found guilty, which is very good news. So, but it would have been nice if she'd served some sort of jail term for it, but she won't.
Mhm.
And Biden's too weak asked to extradite her, which should um, because the Blair government negotiated a new extradition treaty with the US, where
Mhm.
the US was perfectly okay to extradite as many British citizens as it wanted for crimes, but the extradition was never going to be reciprocal. So you lot could have as many of our citizens who'd done something wrong as you wanted, but we couldn't have any of your lot if they'd come over here and done something stupid.
Well, yeah, we're the Empire.
Yeah,
You're one
yeah,
of our subjects. I mean, that's just how it
yeah. We
works,
are.
dude.
No, we are. We are. We are.
We are altering the deal. Pray we don't alter it anymore.
Yeah.
They must
There was a song. Sorry, Isaac. Go on.
No, I was doing my other Darth Vader quote.
Uh there was a song about 25 years. I cannot remember the name of the band.
Lucy
They
in
were
the
a
Sky
kind.
with Diamonds. They're called the Beatles,
Nope.
dude.
They were a kind of post-punk band, and they did a song about the UK, and it was called 51st State of America.
Yeah.
It was kind of very accurate, unfortunately.
I my favorite English song is Western Girls by Pet Shop Boys.
Yep. Pet Shop Boys are awesome, mate.
Yeah,
Absolutely
they are.
great. Really good.
I started listening to them back in like 2007. That's how like white I.
New
Yeah.
Model Army, I think, is the song.
Oh yeah, NMA might have done one. Yeah,
Yeah. 50s first state in
they're a
America.
fairly cool bunch. Yeah.
Mhm.
Hey,
And Sade. That's another one of my
No,
favorites.
Sade's boring. Easy, dull, emotionless. Sorry to anybody who likes it, Isaiah in particular. But I like my music to have a bit of passion about it, and there's no fucking passion there.
Queen is good by the Sex Pistols. That's good.
Again, manufactured punk band.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. And hello, George Rumpy. Hey, George Rumpy, you're at the good. You came in much earlier though, but we're at the time we're talking about music, as it were, because I don't have much to add. I do enjoy yeah, that's right. Emily Context, Chumbawamba all day.
Yep, Chumbawamba are great.
Mhm.
Oh, and in some good news, there's a comedian and a sort of semi-national treasure, which is peculiar because he's from Ireland, called Graham Norton, who, when a TV presenter tried to get him to be rude about Karen Rowlings and her point of views on trans people, because he's a gay person himself. He dodged the bullet nicely, but then the wonderful Billy Bragg, musician, did a lot of good stuff, waded in, and apparently Karen Rowlings absolutely launched at them full claws bared at both of them, because how dare these people hold me responsible for having my shitty views all over the place. Yes, Clash are great as well, Jordan.
Yeah, I respect the Clash as well. I can't name their songs off the top of my head though, but I bet if I like you play some of their greatest songs and like
London's Calling, White Riot.
Yeah, London's Calling, yeah. So Jackass Karen Rollins is at it again, of course. I knew that like Sean had a new video about her and her friends, and so it's just like
Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't know anybody's opinion about Demon Mama. I don't give a damn what anybody's opinion of Demon Mama what it is, but I watched her the other night and she took this thing apart in a very, very good way.
Never got into Never got into
Harry Potter.
I was about to say Hungry Howie's, but Harry Potter.
I like the movies. I still haven't seen the last two movies though, and like you know what? Hey, it's fine. I think I can enjoy the movies, but like I also don't own them, and like I guess I could like enjoy the books, but like there are other books that are out there that I should read, like Terry Pratchett's like work. I still need to read Terry Pratchett. I know that I will lose my friendship with Latano if I don't read some Terry Pratchett's work.
Get them as audio books, man, for goodness sake.
Letourneau has sent me the audiobooks, and I will listen to them eventually. I don't know when, though. It's just like I used to be able to listen to podcasts and like audiobooks all day at work, but then it was just like since I got like a new guy, I've been forgetting to like go back to listening to my audiobooks and podcasts because I'm always like helping him as work. But it's going to be interesting for work, just because like this Wednesday I'm going to start jury duty, or probably going to start jury duty. So
Yay! You're gonna work for the man! Yay!
Oh, come on, mate. They'll take one look at you and go, no.
Do you hold any political opinions? Yeah, I'm a communist. Yeah, you're out of here.
Yes, I won't lie about that. Basically, I might just say, this anarcho-syndicalist communist with his opinions on the criminal justice system is going to be here at court and possibly being a jury.
I have told people that I am an atheist, and that's kind of rubbed some people the wrong way.
I'll mention that too as well.
Yes, thank you, Emily. Yes, they did. Yes, you're right.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Council of Geeks is like a excellent like a YouTube channel too. Again, like years ago, I just like saw the thumbnail about like a video of like a LGBTQIA plus debate, and they saw like they looked like the nostalgia critic. I was like, oh god, this could go either way. But once they said that like I'm gender fluid, it's like okay. I bet this is going to go a good way. And yeah, that was a great video about like as we talked about many times before, and I brought this many times before. Do not, if you're going to do representation as it were, queer representation, don't just tell us that they're queer. Kind of show it as it were. Or like Lando Calrissian being pansexual, we got to see him kiss Chewie. Kiss Chewie, that will prove to us that he's pansexual. And have him kiss L3 too. That'll make Solo a much interesting movie, as I would say. To be fair though, I actually did enjoy Solo as a Star Wars story. And yeah, we don't need to know where Solo come from. It's a word. We don't need to know these sort of things. And
look, and honestly, the only problem with that movie is that it was mediocre.
Yeah. Wait, Rogue One or Solo? Solo's mediocre, I agree.
Solo. No, Rogue One was great.
I agree. Rogue One was awesome. Yes.
Rogue One T-shirt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I got a poster of like Rogue One somewhere around here, but like yeah.
I got one on my wall actually.
Mm-hmm. I got a bunch of posters I've been meaning to like put up on the wall, but it's just like I don't.
I made this X-wing out of paper.
Wow!
Really?
Out of paper?
Yeah, out of paper.
Kit?
No, it's on a paper. I and it's not even a kit. I actually made it. I made it actually for Rogue One actually. So this is
nice.
This is on a paper. So yeah.
Wow.
That's I'm really actually impressed because like
these are like drinking straws here.
Wow.
I basically like cut out like a tube of paper and just like made it more like angular and box like.
That is really impressive, man. That is very, very impressive.
Yes. I'm loving it.
These are
How could you do that with Victory?
but no. Honestly, maybe it's because me as a kid, an explosion and something like that. But the space battles is always like one of some of my favorite parts of like the Star Wars movies, or at least the original trilogy. And I guess like the space battles are okay, and like the prequels and like some of the other like Star Wars properties as well. Or those are ones that would like always take the longest because a lot of models, a lot of setups, and a lot of things, and it's like so they have to keep it short to like 8 minutes or 10 minutes or so. But like no, it's like the Battle of Yavin 4 with like in the Star Wars where they're blowing up the Death Star. That's always like my favorite one of my favorite like sequence of in the movies of all time. It's because of the explosions as were. So even though they're the good guys I'm seeing exploding, Red 10 and standing by and all that sort of thing, I love to see the explosions as were.
I do too. That's what got me into Star Trek because I saw like clips, like I saw like clips of Wrath of Khan where the ships were shooting at each other, and I thought that was like the most awesome thing ever. And that's what got me into Star Trek.
Yeah, certainly. That a lot of explosions in Star Trek movies is where they did.
Especially when the like the ship like, because I think it was Star Trek 3 where like the skin of the Enterprise started like melting away, like like that.
Yeah, I think so.
That's like the most coolest shit I've ever seen. So it got me into Star Trek.
I mean, they were so proud of their explosion in Star Trek 6, The Undiscovered Country, which is a great movie, that they reused the same footage in Star Trek Generations.
and I like Star Trek Generations. Everyone says they don't like it, but
It's not a bad movie, but I think one thing that had going against it is like, why do we need Star Trek Generations? It's because like we had the season finale of series finale actually of like the Next Gen that was like a excellent 3-parter and a excellent end to that series to that show. Because a lot of like the TV shows, sometimes they don't even get endings, honestly, and sometimes when they do endings, they kind of just like stop. So like that one having it was a great 3-parter episode period, but it also was a great book ending the show. So we kind of feel like we didn't need something like Generations, like what 6 months or 8 months later, but they were planning on that anyway, and it's just like so it kind of felt unnecessary in one instance, and so that was kind of like hold it back. But honestly, it was just all right. It was not great, fantastic, but it wasn't terrible either. Because like I can definitely easily watch Generations and enjoy myself to it. Unlike Insurrection, I know Steve Shives loves Insurrection, but like it's I wouldn't hate watching Insurrections, but I wouldn't like necessarily love it either. As compared to like First Contact, which I think is like quite good. It has his issues, true, but like it's a fun action movie. You know. Go ahead.
There was a time where I thought being a man and liking Star Trek, I thought I would never get a girlfriend.
Yeah. I think a lot of us go through that kind of like a phase if we're into like geek hobbies and like thinking it's like hey we'll never get a girlfriend because we don't know if like there's any girls interested in our hobbies to begin with. That was true for me in video games for the longest time. George R.P. said, hypocrisy of Karen Rowland's like cancel culture bad, but like counts as several who slightly speaks against her. Yeah, exactly.
Of course, we know that's not true. There are plenty of girls that are in Star Trek, I guess.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as some of them realize that there are girls later on in life, for example.
Right.
Is like our friend Tabby actually is a Star Trek fan as well. And I agree, John P. The Star Trek Enterprise needs a way better ending. It was just like, that's it? That's it? Voyager had a better ending. And like, that was a 7-year long thing to where they finally got home, but like, at least they had like a good conclusion to the things as well. The Deep Space Nine had. Oh, Tavi. And Deep Space Nine had a great ending too, but like, I think that like, you would that was a great ending if you watch it all the way through from the beginning. If you watch those episodes in and of themselves, yeah, it would be missing context if you never watched any of the show before that. But it wouldn't be as good to watch it individually as opposed to like watching them with the rest of the show. Unlike with like the end of Deep Space Next Generation, I think those 3 episodes, the last final the series finale, you can watch them on your own and get enough to like enjoy it and understand the conflict between those characters. years because like Next Generation was always like standalone episodes, whereas like Deep Space Nine they wanted to do more cyclical the kind of things, or like with
They had a story
arcs.
they wanted to tell over 5 years for Deep Space Nine.
Exactly.
Also,
Mhm.
you
Go
know,
ahead.
also what happened at work the other like last week was I got made fun of how I talk by black folks. I get made fun of that a lot.
I hope you told them that's because you are a white 90s girl.
I just don't care. I just like all right.
Uh,
People
Screw
are
them, mate. Screw
people.
them.
Just let's move on.
Yeah, exactly. Just forget about them, just move on, and just like ignore them, and who cares what like they say as were. We just pretend that like Enterprise ended it on a pre-mounted episode. Yeah, that's the best bet to like go with the episodes before, which are like I think will end up that story arc for that season as well. Which actually, that season, last season of Enterprise was actually the better seasons of the other Enterprise shows because Rick Berman was like writing less of that show and others were actually trying to like write a coherent story for like Enterprise. But it's like
Yeah.
I'm a fan of Enterprise because there was nothing else on. That was the only Star Trek you could watch.
Speaking of Star Trek, I'm actually so last Christmas I bought the entire DVD set of TNG.
Hmm.
So right now I'm in season 3 and I'm at the episode where I think I'm at the episode where they're the episode about the Vietnam War soldier
Hmm.
story where they're like dealing with these super soldiers and whatnot.
Hmm.
I think
Yeah,
the Hunted, I want to say is what it's called.
I really need to like rewatch TNG because like I wasn't as big into like the Next Generation as I was Deep Space Nine because I was more grown up by the time I started watching Deep Space Nine and I was pretty much watching it as it was airing. And while I was a bit too young for Next Generation, it was always on, and my parents were always watching it because they love Star Trek and it was like the Star Trek show that was on. So it was like the later seasons of the Next Generation I would like remember a bit more, like the final series finale. That was a family event that we were watching it together.
Star
eh,
Trek saved my life. It stopped me from committing suicide. I gotta tell you.
mm, yeah, that's it. Wow. No, see, there you go. There's some good to Star Trek. It saves people's lives. So shut up, bigots.
I look at it as in a world where things are falling apart and lonely and all that nonsense, and then there's
Okay, no, I want to like say that line again, but this time in Don LaFontaine voice. In a world where everything is falling apart and you're all lonely.
so yeah, it's I like it. I like the fact that I've been able to that and Titanic and a lot of other shit that I like, but mostly just Star Trek. I was able to just that's what I actually like. I don't
Well, and that thing is like that does remind me of something that like conversation that was like being had on like Seaside's Axaway, not the last Axaway, but the second to last one as were, because again, how classic it is. There's some good questions that can be asked about like the economics of like Star Trek, how does it work? Because as to liberals, they don't understand how there's like no money, and they just automatically assume that there's a transaction happening, like you have like a card in your back pocket or something like that that's connected to your credit account or whatever that is, and that like you'll know when you walk into like Cisco's restaurant, as we're from Deep Space Nine. Cisco has a restaurant, like when you walk in and when you sit down and what you ordered, and that like the credits in that is automatically deducted when you exit out this work. So liberals kind of like still put in that there's a transaction going on, assuming that there's always a transaction going on, despite that like if all intents and purposes, like Star Trek is a communist society, at least with no money, where wealth is not the driving factor for like humanity, but to improve oneself as war. Now, what is interesting, and granted, the show never explains it because the show's not interested in telling the stories of like how the economics of Star Trek works, but like they want to tell the stories about like what Picard's doing this week, essentially. but yeah, Picard and his family has a massive mansion and a massive vineyard, as it were. And and since the show was never cleared on it, it seems like that's like private property or the personal property of that big house and that massive vineyard. And so, how does that square? How does that work in the Star Trek world? And
I think actually there may be money in Star Trek, but I think what they did was they removed the inequality factor out of it. I think that's
I
what.
think in the original, actually, no, it was in Next Generation that said that they've moved beyond the need for currency. I
yeah,
think with replicator technology, it just made it so that there's no need for anyone to have to buy anything. You just have infinite supply of everything. So
yeah.
instead, you get stuff like the Vineyard, where you value things being handcrafted in an old-fashioned way, the same way hipsters love artisanal shit.
Yeah. It's and that's also why like Picard loves archaeological findings, as it were, like that
Mm-hmm.
one thing that was that he found it that like he found over in like one of your episodes of the Next Generation, and to which everyone that hates Generation points out to, see, he's throwing it on the ground. No, he's just placing it down. You're adding the glass breaking like sound effect in your head because he saw it in like red letter media. It's like a review from years ago, and now it's in your head every time you see it. No, he just like picks it up, puts it
You
down.
guys are being nerds and virgins. Stop.
I'm actually am a virgin, so I can't help
So
that
so
until
do
I have
I. So am I. But see, there's nothing bad about that.
agreed. Yeah, exactly. uh
Think,
it,
think of it as humanity's last best secret.
I'm not a secret though. I'm a known quantity. People tell me that I should not change. For better or for worse, I should not change. I'll take that as a compliment too. Uh
Oh, I think of my virginity as it's a freshwater aquifer that's not been touched by people.
okay, I will not comment what's happening in my head
You
because
actually floored the geek there, Isaiah. Well done.
no, I'm thinking of dirty thoughts because imagine my vessels, my virginity as like aquifers, but it's just like, but something gets out every now and then.
Yeah,
I'll just leave it at that.
glad I could help.
Yeah, take a bow.
But so going along this line, I was trying to explain to Kira 2011 and one of CCHI's viewers about sex is overrated, says this girl. Yeah, that's a fair point, Tavi. Yeah, exactly. That Kirok still thinks that people will still need to make a living, essentially. And I think that's a big problem that that'll be one of the things that will be hard to break through in liberals thinking, as it were, are that that if they still I tried to say that well, listen, Cisco is just cooking food because he loves to cook food. That's all he does, as it were. Or the people that decide to we help him out at running the restaurant to serve food, and to do so because they love being in the service industry, love serving people food, and love that sort of thing. People do it for their own sake, not because they have to, as it were. Or but Kira 2011 still thinks that people need to make a living. Even when I say that's but how are you going to get boots? The bootmaker will just make boots because he loves making boots. And if there's if he has boots available in your size and somewhere, just grab one off the shelf. And if he doesn't have one in your size, but you have certain accommodations or want a specific kind of boots, just tell him what you need, and he'll tell you of how long it will take to make it, and you just wait, as it were. But the bootmaker probably will be making boots because they love doing the art of it, and so there'll be plenty for need and something like that.
Also,
The
they're foot
Kirok,
fetishists.
well, there's that too. But Kirok thinking, but a bootmaker still needs to make a living.
Oh, they don't get it, do they? They really don't.
Mm-hmm.
When I first watched the first episode of Picard, was it?
Mm-hmm.
The thing with where he was in his vineyard place. I was, because I don't watch a lot of Star Trek. I'm quite open about it. I actually thought it was I thought it was a holodeck thing.
Mm.
I thought it was a a holographic representation of a vineyard. I didn't go to, oh yes, he just owns a huge wodge of land,
Mhm.
so
I think the problem with a society that where there's no more money is that I feel like people wouldn't be able to adjust to it too well, especially all these like dumbass rappers that we have, because because the thing about money too is like it's a
It's a
status.
crime.
It tells you where you rank in society. So
Yeah.
obviously celebrities have a lot of money and they think they rank higher than a janitor.
mm,
So I feel
Right.
like if we were to remove that, you would have a lot of people. There would be a lot of difficulty in people adjusting to that kind of a society. That's why that. Well, and Geek, this goes to you talking about how come socialist countries never like or like this form of like socialism or communism has never worked. Is because there's people who are uncomfortable with the concept of getting rid of hierarchies because
mm.
Yeah.
hierarchies are how people can distinguish who where is where, and if you get rid of that, people then can't define boundaries and anything. Because like I mean,
It,
there are plenty of people who think people like me or someone like who has disability should be on the lower end of society, and that's just what some people just think. And I think if you were to get rid of money or something like that, people people wouldn't even know, like they wouldn't know what up and down is. And I think that's one of the reasons why I think it's just on
agreed.
that level it's difficult to get rid of it, because we've had hierarchies for like all these thousands of millennia, and then when you say let's get rid of that, people are going to be like, well, okay, but how am I going to then compare myself to someone
Mm.
else?
And this is why I always pick people up when they say things like Elon Musk is worth X billion. I always will say, actually, no, he has a material value of X billion.
Hmm.
What he's actually worth as a human being
Hmm.
is
Dog
something
shit.
else. Yeah.
Yes.
Hold on a moment.
It, well, I think you're right. And actually, that came up in the Dispossessed because the main character, Shivik, is a teacher. He teaches physics, as it were. So when he goes into the capitalist world, and not the anarchist world he came from in Ars, it's like, oh, indigenous heritage. By the time we are ready to get rid of money, the culture will have been changed enough to do so. I agree, indigenous heretic. I think we should move towards that essentially. And yeah, I'm not deluded to think that again, Thanos snaps fingers, capitalism is gone to today. That we would all learn how to live without currency or transactions as work. No, there's so many people who again, they're so used to transaction and currency, even when they see communism in action in Star Trek Deep Space Nine, the liberals will put in transactions happening off screen that they're not seeing, and so they'll think that there's still always a transaction. It's capitalist realism in a way where it's just or like how many people that always grew up under hierarchies and hierarchies ruined them as well, that when they see indigenous societies or indigenous cultures, and they'll still think that the chief is must be in charge and says what everything is dues, which and Joey, you can correct me if I'm wrong, and maybe there are definitely some indigenous cultures where it's there is a hierarchy in there as it were, and yep, that's actually there are some indigenous cultures with hierarchical
We're
structures and
talking
even
about
slavery.
tens of millions of people across two continents. They had
Exactly.
different societies and different
Oh
cultures.
yes, for example, but is and Joe, you can correct me for at least for Lakota, is that I think it's yeah, there are chiefs, but they're more like a wise person, someone you can get wisdom from, not necessarily to someone that says do this or else I'll throw you to the bad place, as it were.
Yeah. So that's just like my thinking about it. While me and everyone in this group would be okay with the society where there's no money, I think there'd be a lot of people who wouldn't know what to do with themselves, because that's always been the metric that they've used is economics. And even if they don't even notice it, right?
Right.
It's And also, just a lot of times, it just makes you cool too. I mean, it's like living in. It's like if America decided that they were just going to like completely cut down on car production and just focus all on mass transit, and you would see, we would be okay with that for the most part, but you have a lot of people complaining about it, saying, well, I don't want to take the mass transit because I got a car and I don't, so
Yeah.
I just there's a lot
Well,
of them.
no, I mean the bus is for poor people.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's that kind of thing that the mentality that they have.
where they would where they would say, well, Isaiah, if you didn't spend all your money buying a stupid shit you can't back a
Well, if you
day.
didn't want to be poor, you shouldn't dress like a communist.
Yeah, I
Big
mean,
star on your hat.
One of Margaret Thatcher's awful sayings is that if you're, if by the time you're 27 you're still catching the bus to work, you are a failure.
Oh, fuck her.
Oh yeah, no, no, absolutely, mate.
I don't,
With a brick wrapped in a cactus. Believe you me, I have no
I don't,
love for that.
I don't.
Her grave is a public toilet. Just saying.
But I'm
Yes.
like, if she really said that, fuck
She
that.
did.
Fuck
Oh,
that.
she did. She did.
Oh, she was
say
a
that.
terrible person. She said all the bad
Oh,
things.
she was vile. She was.
And
She
I
was.
don't call people bitches that often, but she's
Yeah,
a
no.
bitch.
Yeah, she's dead technically, and her grave is the gender neutral bathroom. And remember, if we go to hell, we have mission to kill with monstrous actor again, and again and again and again in hell. So we'll go all doom on her ass, as it were. But Isaiah, I think you're all right. It's like people would just like, because they're in a certain position of power, they'll think that like I am better than the other people. I was years ago, I was in like a live stream. I did poorly in the live stream discussing the politics, discussing anarchism, because I went with the violent revolution card heavily and sincerely, to which scared them and made them think that I'm an advocate for mass murder. So it didn't help when I tweeted out that like Maoist landlord kiddo landlords meme, that they like that kind of cemented their like opinions of me. But one of them was a supervisor. And because he was supervisor, he believes that no, he has to be there as the supervisor to tell the others what to do. Because if he's
Oh,
not there, they don't know what to do and can't do their work. I disagree with that segment. It's like, no, they just need to be properly trained so they can be like self-autonomized and like do the same work that you kind of
yeah.
doing.
Of course
They
they
do
could.
where they don't need you. And he denied that. He disagreed with that, and said, "No, I have to be there. I have to be the one in charge. They can't like do the work that I do as work. Well, you haven't trained them properly." It's like, no, they
Yeah.
can't do the work. He said,
Well, that's
"This is
David Graeber's bullshit jobs, isn't it? Oh, straight
right.
up and down. That, you know.
It, yeah, exactly. But this one, the person believing that his job's not bullshit. Yet it is. But he believes that we always had hierarchies. I just didn't have the like the knowledge there to disprove that or go against that. I just like knew this like that's not the case. Or like how like you said, like Isaiah, people who use the money thing, which is really just permission slips, as a word, permission to be able to like own this thing, or like permission to own this waifu cup. It needs like the $34 of like a permissions green paper slips to like own this like Stacey Smalls waifu cup. Is yeah, Stacey's mom's got it going on. So it is permission slips, but people do love that kind of like permission that they have to have the bling bling, to have like the Jordan sneakers and all that sort of thing. So if like we somehow remove that, as it were, and the poor people get that, oh wow,
Yeah. Well, and again, see, okay, for example, there's a lot of see, I do a lot of model work, and I'm very good with it, especially like lighting them. But to some other people, they think that's dumb, right?
yeah.
So I don't
Well,
know.
those people are assholes.
But also like you're enjoying not everyone, there's no such thing as like everyone, and context wrench is correct that like everyone, people are not robots as were, but there's also no everyone. So like some people enjoy model making, and like maybe I could get into it, but I probably would enjoy video games more. And then again, sometimes it depends on my mood as well. Some people don't enjoy like Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. It's while some people do love Lord of the Rings and or Power of the Ring, the recent Amazon Prime show, which which has upset the right kind of people to upset the fascists who were saying, no, Middle Earth does not have black people. No, there's no black people. Black people. It's like, no. Come
Well,
on.
here's the thing about that whole: could there be black mermaids? Yes. If there are mermaids that have lived for thousands of years along the equatorial parts of the planet, where you would get the most amount of sunlight yes. If they evolve like human beings but have fish for tails, sorry,
Fish scales for tails, or like
they're
A
not
fishy
real.
tail instead of legs.
Yes. And they still had the same evolutionary skin pigment and how that operates. Yes, you would have a black mermaid because you would have mermaids that live in the area for thousands of years where they have to deal with direct sunlight. That would turn your skin darker.
Isaiah. Remember, there are people that think that Jesus is white.
Well, Jesus, well,
You stepped straight out of the Garden of Sweden, my man.
the Mormons think he's white, and the Mormons also think that the Native Americans were the lost tribes of Israel. And Kanye West thinks the same thing about black people, that we're the lost tribes of Israel.
Okay,
Kanye West is buying
You
Parler.
can't all be the lost tribes of Israel. We can all be the lost tribes of Israel, maybe.
How about none of this exists, so let's stop talking about it.
There's that.
Even better.
I've been forgetting to bring back to this point. I'm not saying everyone's distracting me. I'm distracting myself. Another way that people like to see themselves be ranked against others. I guess that's the natural thing for some people. They want to see their ranks in a video game setting as it were. But and John Brockman, you talked about this as well. Grading. Else again in Dispossess, Shivak starts teaching physics at a college or university in the story, but doesn't grade his students. Some of the students are happy with it, and it's awesome because they were learning so many things. That's what they care about. They care about learning. But some of the students were just but how can I rank myself against the other students, as it were? Or some of the parents of those students were saying, my child is a straight A student, as it were, and you're not giving them grades, as it were. And it's just okay, listen, Karen, parent, Becky, your child they're their own person. They're not a reflection of you. They're not your property or anything like that. They're not there so that you can get a bumper sticker. Come on.
No, they are, because I had sex and I made it, so it's mine.
That's all the child is of you. You product that you have copulated. Come on.
Oh God, yes. There are plenty of parents who when they having a kid is like that was their Sputnik moment. After that,
Sputnik. Sorry.
Sputnik.
Unfortunately, some people also think it's this relationship is not going well. Let's have a baby. It's that's the worst reason to have a child. You should have a child because you love each other and want to bring a new life into this world. A baby will not fix the relationship, and that'll be a terrible reason for that child to grow up into that environment. And no, it doesn't. It just adds more stress to the relationship. It's
No, all the kid needs is Jeebus. That's all he needs is Jeebus. I'm serious. Jeebus. Dude, okay, Mithril, if you want to know how really crazy our politics is, in Georgia, we had a candidate running on her three positions was Jesus, guns, and babies.
We also have a candidate running who has suffered severe brain damage from playing football.
Yeah.
She wanted Jesus and the guns and the babies to have votes.
No. Yeah. Well, no. She was saying that.
I'm joking, mate. I'm teasing you.
See, Mithro, because a lot of the Second Amendment stuff comes from this idea that the English were coming to take the guns away.
Yeah, we're really not,
Which is so funny because didn't the Europeans...
Yeah, you definitely don't want our guns. You've gotten rid of all of yours.
Yeah.
Here's why this argument is so dumb, because didn't the English bring guns to the Americans when they or to the New World when the Mayflower showed up?
Yeah,
I don't
we
think
may have done. We might possibly have done something like that. Yep.
yeah. But no, the argument is we gotta have the Gurns. I call them Gurns because the British are going to take the guns, and I guess we're going to
No, no.
then.
These days we're more. Well, we used to be afraid of the commies. Now they're afraid of girls with pink hair,
They're afraid of
Yeah.
and they're afraid of black people.
the. Come on, dude. There is like Mithro. You really gotta understand our gun culture. It's on
I
fear.
don't. I genuinely don't.
It's,
I have. I've
They're
talked
absolutely terrified.
I've talked to Republicans. I've talked to liberals. I've talked to you guys, and I still have no comprehension. Is it because 3/4 of Americans have tiny penises that they're so fascinated with guns,
No,
or
just imagine
is
Piers
it?
Morgan if he lived in a world where he didn't have access to health care.
Yeah, but Pissy Morgan came out against gun culture.
No, but he has the health care. He doesn't have to
Well,
be
yeah,
afraid all the
yeah. I
time.
mean, he has private health. He has private health care
well,
anyway.
it's
That
funny
cunt.
because my boss actually thinks that the Gumpment is going to like invade them and take their guns away, which I find is dumb because the Gumpment has nukes. So why do I want your fucking
Yeah, yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
go take
I
my
like
gun. But fuck, I'm gonna go get that smelly fucking stinking gun of yours.
But here's the thing.
With.
Here's the thing, like Mitchell, and to anyone else outside the USA, Little has talked about this like on their stream that like in like rural town Indiana where they're from, where they currently live, there'll be guys that will open Trump supporters that will open carry 4 sidearm pistols. Why do you need 4 of them? Open carry them. They're like around their belts and all for the purpose I'm trying to provoke someone to say you should put your guns away, and then being like, want to take my guns away? But yet,
From my cold dead hands.
If it was a black person that did that,
rearranged.
I think that guy was a criminal.
well, yeah, exactly. That would definitely happen, especially in rural town Indiana. If a black guy was trying to do that, it's where he would get shot dead because, like, that's sort of like happening all the time. But this was
I mean,
like
that literally did happen. A black guy
Right.
was carrying an air rifle in a Walmart. The cops stormed in and murdered him.
yeah. But like, no one confronted this person who was like open carrying 4 on purpose. Like, no one's gonna take your guns away. We don't care. Just do your business and get out, as it were. Or,
I mean,
but like
honestly, in the UK, if you get people, we do get people who fetishize guns a bit. Nothing like, nothing like the and all that it tends to lead to is tiny dick jokes.
Then you
Because
guys,
it's clear to everybody in the UK that they're really compensating for something.
yes, or they'll.
And I feel maybe you need to start doing that to these people a bit more, and it would reduce their feelings of having to carry, an AR-15 when they go to buy a packet of cigarettes, for fuck's sake,
It's okay to have a tiny penis. It's all right.
I know, yeah, thank you. Yes, exactly. I mean, you might get beaten up the first few times, but eventually it's going to sink in with these morons, isn't it? That nobody's that impressed.
It just means that you just won't be getting your dick caught in your underwear all the time.
Yeah, true.
Yes.
Yeah, you won't be catching your zip and your flies then.
Right.
Yeah.
What's so bad about that? I don't get it.
And also, this is a true fact. Of all the calls to come into like the radio show Love Line, as it were, they got where women complain more about like it being too big than it being too small. because it being too big is a mismatch issue, and it can cause some pain. And so, and that even like a performer supposed to say like when you're too big around, and then like that's too much girth. That's a problem because like some women some women can't like handle it as a word. But if it's like too long, that's not a problem because you can only use like the first 2 inches or something like that.
This
There
is
is there is a very
so in England. Can I ask? Anyway, in England, can I like ask? Can I like knock on the door and ask someone for like a spot of tea? But see, if you do that here in America, they would shoot you because you think you're right.
quite a lot of people would probably give you a cup of tea, especially with an American accent. They're,
Because with an American accent, they think you're probably going to be violent.
but
Good
I
American.
mean,
We're
I
all
hate to say it, mate, but there are areas that I would say you probably shouldn't go to, and they are not what um, Americans think of as no-go areas. If you're black, the sort of areas you shouldn't go to in the UK are the whitest, the richest places.
I agree.
The Georgia
But
of the
just
UK. I found
yeah,
the most American shirt ever. You can see it now if you look on the stream. It's a dude, and he's wearing a shirt that says, "Don't ever think that I am peaceful. It, don't ever think that the reason I am peaceful is because I forget how to be violent." And it's got a picture of like
oh,
a faceless soldier over an American flag.
God's sake.
And of course, because this
Oh.
is Facebook, it says, "Bro, you're in a PetSmart walking a pair of corgis. Calm the fuck down." That is the most American thing ever, to wear that shirt while walking those dogs.
The funny thing about people who do things like that is I can easily whoop their ass in a fight. That's what's so weird about it.
There was a brilliant sketch
Just because you're
years.
black doesn't mean you can kick ass in a fight. Okay, don't be racist.
Well,
There was a wonderful sketch years ago by Mitchell and Webb, but unfortunately Webb has turned out to be a turf. But
Oh, okay.
Is
I'm
Webb
going.
the Linehan guy?
Yeah, Richard. Mitchell and Webb were the ones who did the "Are We the Bad Guys"
Oh,
Yeah.
sketch.
Are we the baddies?
Are we the
Yeah.
baddies?
But they did one where a bloke was in a hospital. He'd had his nuts ripped off in a horrible accident. He'd had his testicles removed in a horrible accident, and
So we had to buy a gun.
so no. So instead, so they said, "Well, here's a replacement for your testicles," and they handed him the lead attached to a huge Doberman, Rottweiler, not Doberman. It was the implication that look at me with my big hard dog, that sort of thing.
And I'm so now I noticed that like well, the flowers on my thing because I'm just calling Pippin on the left, of course. But you also then gave Mithro Liverpool Football Club.
He always does. I'm used to it. I am no longer commenting on that. I understand the geographical inconvenience of being at the top of a 45-mile triangle between the two cities. So,
I mean, you are a Mancunian. I get it.
no,
I'm
I'm not. Right, Brian Cox, the astronomer, is a Mancunian, and he doesn't sound out like me.
well, you guys over there do say aluminium, so I wouldn't be surprised if you say
Yeah, aluminium. That's the correct way of pronouncing it. I'm sorry.
no more, because you guys do say supernovae. So
I know Rotties are big teddy bears. I agree, context, but at the time there was a big scare going about frightening dogs, and people aren't very bright. Let's be brutally honest. It was easy for the press to manipulate them and make out
over here it's
things
pit
like
bulls.
same here, and American pit bulls, and quite a few of them were rounded up and euthanized purely for the reason of their breed, which is, considering we're supposed to be a country of animal lovers, is kind of sick.
Yeah, and that's what I think. Like when either Patrick Stewart, I was about to say John Luke Picard. No, that's his character. His name is Patrick Stewart, the actor. He yeah, he kind of like saw that either from his own experience trying to bring Pitbull to the UK, or
Yeah.
someone else trying to bring Pitbull to the UK. Why? It's like, oh, because we banned Pitbulls from this.
Uh-huh.
Right. So then he started basically a rescue for Pitbulls in like free time in his estate. So yeah, you probably can find a lot of photos of him just like loving his hugging and loving his Pitbull.
Patrick
So
Stewart's just a thoroughly amazing dude, to be quite honest.
Mhm.
I agree.
He's just a thoroughly good man, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
I like
I,
Patrick Stewart.
yeah, him and Ian McKellen are probably the two.
They're best friends.
Yeah, they're two people who we should hold up in the and probably David Attenborough as well, just because he's cool.
Yeah.
They're the three men we should hold up to as role models in this country. I firmly
Instead,
believe
you have Graham Linehan and the pedophile guy.
Not
that.
Charles. What about Winston Churchill?
What about
Oh, he's a
Winston
complete piece
Churchill?
of shit. Fuck him.
Yeah.
He's dead.
Oh, no. Yeah. Um. You will hear a lot of people defending the fuck out of Churchill, but you will never hear me defending that motherfucker.
Mhm.
He was right place, right time for World War II,
Yeah.
no doubt about it. But it was because his decisions were largely made through the window of brutal imperialism.
Well, I can't believe the Indians, they must have a really bad religion. Man, more of that.
Yeah, he was just an asshole, and
That
he did a couple
was
genocides, and he was racist as fuck.
Well, in the
And
1926 general strike, he wanted to gas the Welsh miners.
mhm.
Another British PM that's like has it out for the Welsh miners for some reason.
Oh, lots of them do. They hate fucking miners.
And they
The
hate
Tory,
the Welsh.
Irish
yeah.
people. I didn't like Welsh people either. That's sad.
Well, the Welsh are cool. The Welsh are all right.
It must suck
Um,
on Guildford then. He's Welsh.
there was a wonderful group in the 60s and 70s who went around burning down English people's second homes in Wales called the Sons of Glendower, after Owen Glendower, who was the last Prince of Wales. The last true prince, not the honorary title that was given to fucking Chucky Boy before he became a king. So they were pretty cool because they were trying to keep Welsh homes for Welsh people, which is kind of shitty and racist in a way, but given the choice between somebody who lives there, has lived there all their life, being able to buy a house, and some twat from the city buying it because Sebastian and Ophelia need somewhere to keep the fucking pony.
I believe it's pronounced Welsh.
Mm.
John
Eh,
Rhys Davies is
wrong.
another treasure.
no.
It's we had the UK government has a Welsh secretary and a Scottish secretary who are supposed to be responsible for two of the parts of the United Kingdom, and there was a wonderful clip many years ago of a man called John Redwood, who is horrible, of course, trying to mouth the Welsh anthem along at the Welsh Tory Party conference. And it was just beautiful to watch because he had clearly no idea what was going on.
Well, I mean, let's be fair. I mean, even the Welsh don't really understand Welsh. I think Welsh is a joke and something that they made up to fuck with the English.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely.
What about the North Irish? I wonder how they feel.
The Northern Irish should be part of Ireland.
Mhm.
It looks like Northern Ireland has, I think, for the first time become a majority Catholic part of the UK now, and the Democratic Unionist Party, which is not particularly democratic, because if you need to put that in your name, you really aren't. Um,
It's like the Nazis being called socialists.
National Socialist, yeah, Democratic
Those,
Republic of Congo, da 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 da.
the Democratic Republic of
They,
North Korea. Yeah.
yeah, they are.
It's just like,
They are collectively soiling themselves over the fact that there may be a referendum in the not too distant future, because the Northern Ireland Agreement, which was drawn up when we stupidly left the European Union, effectively treated Northern Ireland as still in some ways part of the European Union, and put a trade barrier between down the middle of the North Sea and the Irish Sea, rather, to separate us. And the Conservative Party are trying to overthrow this protocol, despite the fact that it's going to put the peace agreement at huge risk. So they would rather have their ideologically driven Brexit than peace in Ireland, which is, I mean, they don't care. They're all paddies in the mix. They don't care if they kill each other. It's really awful. It's horrendous, and it's another good reason for not voting fucking Tory ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. In America,
You sound bitter, Mithril. Are you sure that's not just because you're a fucking Northern monkey?
I am a Northern monkey. Absolutely. Of course I am.
You're just angry at all those soft sherry drinking Southern bastards.
No, they don't drink sherry. That's for northern grandmas.
I'm just quoting Guy Ritchie movies at this point.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't trust that piece of crap either.
Specifically, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
Yeah,
That's a good movie, though.
Monkeys.
No,
Soft sherry drinking Southern bastard shite.
I like the. What about the movie Snatch? Is that a good movie?
no, because it's fucking London. It's London.
Oh, okay.
It's fucking London, and it's we're all Cockney gangsters, right? And it's fucking fuck off. Just die.
Okay.
The only thing I would ever praise Putin for, the only reason I would ever praise him for using a nuclear weapon, is dropping the fucking thing on London.
what's wrong with London?
It's
Lots of
shithole.
things.
It is a city-state separate to the rest of the UK, and unfortunately our ruling classes treat it as if it wasn't, but it is. It almost has its own tax rule.
Under Thatcher, England lost 1 million jobs. Or sorry, 1.1 million jobs, of which 1 million were in Northern England because they took care of London.
Yep.
I will say,
And that has been the same ever since.
I will say, if like Miami gets hit with a nuke, I wouldn't.
Yeah. It's just there is a very deep-rooted dislike between North and South. There always has been, always will be, I suspect.
We got that from you. We learned it by watching
Yeah,
you.
no, I know. It's become less pronounced over the last few years because people have become more mobile in their jobs because they have to be.
Yeah.
There is no longer. I'm sure it's the same in America, in the US as well. There is no longer this thing where you can leave a job on Friday and within a week or so you can be in another job, unless you're a Conservative Prime Minister, clearly.
Yeah, there's no such thing as job security, and there's no such thing as a job for life. There's no such thing as not being scared all the time.
I think my generation, we were the ones who were right at the very end of the job for life thing. We were the ones who were on that sort of fulcrum point. You know, I've never had a job for life.
And then you
I've
voted for
never had.
Maggie Thatcher.
I wasn't old enough to, but I don't think I would have done anyway. My dad, my dad, who was a revolutionary socialist all his life, admitted to me that the biggest mistake he ever made was voting for Thatcher in '79, and that was
Why
purely
the
because.
fuck would a revolutionary socialist vote
Well,
for Thatcher?
listen.
I judge your dad. I don't know him, but I judge him.
Well, he's dead now, so it doesn't really matter.
I judge him harder.
So
But,
Good people don't die.
Yeah, because he saw what was happening in the UK and thought we needed change. What he didn't understand, and I don't think anybody really understood, was just how vicious and brutal the change that she was going to impose. For a long time, there'd been a sort of consensus amongst both major political parties in the UK that we will look after the ordinary working people. We'll keep the welfare state going because it helps people, and all that went out the window with Thatcher. And I think a lot of people didn't realise just how brutal she was actually going to be.
I see.
She's just that vicious a piece of shit.
Yeah.
I gotta run, guys. But
Yep, we're at the 90-minute mark anyway. So we're about to call it here for the show as well.
I can go and watch Jodie's last Doctor Who show. Thank you.
Ooh, wow! So there's going to be a new Doctor soon, as it were.
Yeah, and after
This
a
time
woman,
it's going to be a black guy.
yeah, they're going to melt. The right are going to melt down even fucking more because it's now going to be a black dude. Yes.
Yeah.
And then the one after that is going to be a trans lesbian and a
I hope
Muslim.
so.
Just piss off all the right wingers this were, which
Yeah.
funny enough, Tavi mentioned something to this effect last night. I feel like for video games, this were we'll cover this story next week of a proper video game that's introduced a trans character. But I think I agree with Tavi. If listen, video games, if you just want to do things right with the LGBTQIA plus community or everyone else, and just add pronouns or or non-binary characters at the very beginning. That way, all the right-wing fascist assholes will know that this game is not for them, as it were. Or have
Call God a woman and see how quickly they freak the fuck out about pronouns.
Right, or just have a black person be the main character, or just for Battlefield 5, put a woman on the cover. That's it. That's all you need to do is for it to be well polished. Battlefield 5. So yes, but Isaiah Taylor has to run. He is Sinister Intelligence on YouTube, and Isaiah.
yes.
You're working on a second YouTube channel, which is just for model making and that sort of thing,
Yes.
right?
It's the Autistic Modeler Society. Let me find it and I can share it to you in the chat right quick.
Yes, absolutely. Hey, and George repeat, man, what a kill for a trans lesbian doctor. Yes, exactly.
Well,
Hey.
Jodie has sort of toyed around the edges of being bi.
Ooh.
Her and Jazz have been kind of painted as a definite couple with a romantic interest in each other.
Nice. And
Jodie's not the first one to do that. Matt Smith also during the
Yes, with Captain Jack. Yeah.
well, actually, I was talking about the bit where he danced with everyone at the Rory.
Oh yeah,
and
that as
Amy's
well.
wedding.
Yeah.
And they all fancied him.
yeah.
And here you guys go. I'm putting it in the chat.
Okay.
There you go.
All right, and I'll copy that and put it into the YouTube live chat now. That is Isaiah. There's a second YouTube channel.
where you can see the model kits and all that awesome stuff. But also, Isaiah's Instagram also has that too. So I'll go and find that.
I'm going to a cosplay meetup next Saturday, and I'm bringing pigs in a blanket
Nice,
and Hawaiian punch.
nice. I like Hawaiian Punch. It's just there's not that many sodas that has like fruit punch or Hawaiian Punch as a flavor, and I think they work as a flavor as well. But
I
there's
mean, it's just getting slapped by a Polynesian.
Oh, dear, did I lose audio? Or
no.
did Geek? Okay. I couldn't hear
Okay,
you
can you hear me?
clapping and laughing. Now I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Maybe it's my clapping was too hard, I was speaking as well. But that's Isaiah's Instagram, where you can see a lot of Isaiah's model kits, other things. And maybe we should see the paper X-wing that Isaiah made by himself, not a model kit, just paper. There's just crafted all by himself. Yeah, that is seriously.
That is
Isaiah,
fucking ridiculous.
show that off at the next Steve Shives hangout, please do, because they.
And I'll be home too, so I don't have to, So yeah, absolutely.
And make Steve Sives super jealous by doing the same thing, but for the Enterprise.
Yeah. Metro Breed probably don't have anything to plug or promote because you're just
Except for the Liverpool Football Club.
Shut up.
Yeah.
And Manchester United.
Shut up again. So charitylinks.page. That's where also all the information to help out Phoenix is there, as well as many others that need help, and it's always tough, and I don't make as much money as I used to because I can't work 70 hours a week. I'm told not to come in and work on Sundays I might start.
I'm actually running off to work now because my boss said I needed to come in because someone had called out sick both yesterday and today.
Funny that. I thought he didn't want you there.
I think that was the other job, and just the coworkers that didn't think he's untrainable as well.
No, this is my other job, but I am getting at this job that I'm going to now. They're letting me work the weekdays, and I can have the evenings and weekends off. So
that's
nice.
good. Yeah,
I hope.
Yep. So I am Summer and Geek on YouTube. I should post more videos up on YouTube eventually. Summer and Geek on Twitter. I definitely post there often enough that you can check it out. I'm Summer and Geek on Tumblr too. You can check it out there in case there's things like that. Yes, and contents read. The Fluid Voice panel talks how love affects politics tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Pacific. That will be 1 a.m. UTC if I remember correctly. Yes. And I'm a Summer Geek also on twitch.tv. I will be streaming later on today after I eat something. Don't know what I'm going to be playing, but probably chat about a lot of other things, as I do. Basically, it's an emergency fundraiser for Phoenix and Joanna, as always. And John Brockman, you're part of another podcast, aren't you?
Indeed I am. Dungeons and Debacles, a D&D podcast where we're fighting an evil red dragon cult. And we're cops now. Speaking of which, the latest Call of Duty is a cop simulator. And you guys at least can hear the audio. People watching the stream will be able to see the video as well.
What special forces to stay inside? Get back inside. Oh, shit!
Wait, hold. What? Wait, that's how you de-escalate? Stop! You de-escalate by aiming at them?
It said push the right mouse button to de-escalate. And you aim the gun at the guy to de-escalate.
Oh, Christ.
I didn't know John was Hassani B at this point.
Oh god! And there was already the cop simulator video game in Tom Clancy: The Division that already had problematic things as well.
It's all propaganda. It's propaganda all the way down.
Yeah, so but video games where you're not playing as a cosplay, you're playing as a revolutionaries go. Tonight We Ride. That's an excellent video game, where you're.
Why is there a cop simulator?
Because people like cops for some reason.
All right.
Oh, shouldn't it be Cop Stimulator then?
That's when you escalate the situation in their pants.
On that note, let's end the show. Thank you for everyone for coming out there and watching. Don't
Oh,
forget to
Wonder
vote for
Woman.
Western Eyes.
The only semi-decent thing to come out of the DC movie universe.
Oh no,
Zack
that's
Yeah.
a sham.
George.
I'm not really a superhero fan, but I did love Wonder Woman a lot.
It was very
Wonder-
sweet and caring in a lot of ways.
Stan.
And of course, Black Panther, obviously.
Right. And hey, Willis, unfortunately, you just caught the tail end of the show. You can watch the rest of the show in the replay as well. But thank you for coming out and saying hi. We do this again on the next Sunday as well. But don't worry to anyone that misses any of these shows. They're on YouTube, so you can rewatch them again anyway. So take care of all, and don't forget to practice self care and stay awesome, my friends. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Take care, everybody.